Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the all-new 2022 Hyundai Elantra N. In the first part of this video we're going to go over the specs with this new Elantra N, then we're going to get into why this car matters, and then we're going to finish things up with whether or not you should look into buying one. With all that being said, let's get into the video. Now let's get into the specs of this Elantra N, and I'm pretty excited for this car because we've had the Veloster N for quite some time. We have the newest edition, which is the Kona N, and now we have this Elantra N, and so I imagine we're going to have N cars with pretty much every single model with Hyundai, which again, I think is pretty exciting. But anyways, it's powered by a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through two different transmissions. There is a dual clutch automatic, and then there is a 6-speed manual, so you have either choices. If you're running the dual clutch is an 8-speed. You guys know I'm a huge fan of that transmission, really quick to shift. And then with the 6-speed, it's most likely going to have the rev match function just like what you have in the Veloster, and it's a good manual transmission overall. But in terms of the power outputs with this engine, it'll have 276 horsepower and 289 pound-feet of torque. I'm sure they'll release like a performance exhaust variant similar to what they did with the Veloster, where you get a little bit more horsepower if you get like a performance package. But something that's pretty exciting is there's an overboost feature for the automatic that gives you another 10 horsepower for a limited amount of time, so pretty interesting. Now aside from that, with these power figures and everything, we have a 0 to 60 that's going to be in the low 5-second range, top speed of 155. Sounds like that's just electronically limited. And then there are going to be multiple drive modes that also have multiple modes for the exhaust. You have just like the Veloster, you'll have a quiet exhaust mode, and then you'll have a louder exhaust mode. Now aside from that, it's also getting an electronically controlled limited slip differential, independent rear suspension, which you can already get on the Elantra, but it carries over into the N. And then also they're using an integrated drive axle that is stiffer and lighter than the conventional one with the Elantra, and it's going to get 19-inch wheels, 245mm tires. They're Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's. Great grip, especially for a car in this segment. And then 14-inch rotors, which doesn't sound massive compared to a lot of other vehicles, but I mean, you got to remember this is a small lightweight sedan, so it doesn't really need huge brakes. Those are actually pretty big for this. And then it'll also get kind of like a custom gauge cluster setup and everything. You guys will see the interior photos that I'll put with this video. And then on the exterior, it's going to have all of the N stuff. So you're going to have the arrow on the back, and you guys will see the picture. It has like a really cool wing. You'll have all of the red accenting, and then it'll be in that same blue launch color that they released the Veloster N, and that's just kind of like the N color on the outside. And yeah, I mean, looking at these pictures, it looks really good. You've got the two exhaust tips at the back end, which I really like, and the new Elantra overall is just a really good looking car to start off with, and so kind of making it sportier and more aggressive, I think definitely does big justice to this car. And yeah, I mean, it's a little bit busy, but overall it's a good looking car. And yeah, those are pretty much the specs on the new N. It's a 2022 model year, so you'll probably be able to order one shortly if you can't already. I haven't talked to the Hyundai dealer, so I don't know if you can already order these, but just expect these to kind of arrive later this year at the earliest, but most likely we'll get the first ones at the beginning of next year, and that's why they're making it a 2022. Now let's talk about the importance of this new Elantra N, and it's actually really important because it shows Hyundai's commitment to make more performance-oriented cars, and this does bleed over into Kia as well. Because if you guys haven't noticed, with Kia, we had the new K5 come out, now we have the GT. And then over back to Hyundai, right, we had the new Sonata come out, and we've got the N line. They haven't made an N version yet. They'd probably have to make that all-wheel drive because the N line just like roasts through the front tires, and so if they added more power to that car, it's barely usable now. It really would not be usable. But we've had the Veloster N for a while, we've got the new Kona N, and now we have the Elantra N. And so it just shows that Hyundai and Kia, right, again, being sibling brands, are really focused on making more performance-oriented cars, and I think it's a really smart move because the brand is really establishing itself in a whole new way, and it's bringing a lot of people to the brand because it's like, if you want to have a luxury car, right, you can go buy from the Genesis brand. But if you don't want to pay luxury car money, then you can get something like the Telluride or the Palisade, right? They have really nice interiors. Or the Sonata, frankly. The Sonata has a really nice luxury car ride, really nice luxury car interior as well, right? It's got nice materials everywhere. But then they're like, oh, if you're not really into the whole luxury thing, we're going to make fun performance cars too, and that's what the N lines are, and that's what the N cars are as well. And then over on Kia's side, that's what the GT lines are, and then the GTs. The GT lines, though, not quite as sporty. I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. But the point that I'm trying to make here is they're really expanding the demographics that they apply to, right? They're going and trying to get more luxury customers, and they're going and trying to get people that are more into performance-oriented cars. And the way they're doing this is they're just building out as many cars as they can, and they're building out as many packages as they can with their cars. I mean, seriously, look at it. Again, I think the Sonata is a great example right now. If you just want to get a luxury based Sonata, they offer you a Sonata with a really nice interior and it doesn't have crazy amounts of power. But then it's like, oh, you want to have a more performance oriented version, they offer one with a sportier looking interior and then lots of power, and so it applies to both people. And so I think that's just really smart that that's the route that they're going, and it seems like they're just going to continue to expand upon that. And I am all about it because they offer great amounts of technology, and then on the performance side of things, especially for the money, right? It's not necessarily the high, like this new Elantra N isn't the most crazy high performance car ever, but for about $30,000 it's a pretty great value, and especially considering the safety tech that it's going to come with, because they're all about adding standard safety technology and all the other stuff that it's going to come with. It's going to be a really solid offering. And so yeah, I think it's just vastly important. It's showing the direction of Hyundai. It's also kind of showing the direction of Kia and then Genesis to an extent. And yeah, I mean, there's not really anything that is there's some other cars in that segment, but there's not really another manufacturer that's really just hitting every single angle like what Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis are doing right now. Now, should you look into getting this new Elantra N? And it really just depends on what you're looking for. So if you want a fun daily driver performance oriented sedan that is going to get good fuel economy, then this is going to be a great car to go for. And that's kind of what the N's are all about. This is a car that you could daily drive. It's going to be a little bit on the harsher side, right? You could daily drive it, but on top of that, you could go and basically take it up a canyon road on the weekend, or you could go and take it on the racetrack and it's not going to break the bank. And so if that's what you're looking for, this car will be great for that purpose. The one thing that I will say is the Veloster N, right, that one would have had a little bit, I don't think it's going to be too much of a difference, but a little bit better performance because it was a little bit of a smaller car in terms of how it would feel with the handling and everything. But the thing that I will say point for the Elantra is with the new car that they've built out, it looks significantly better in my opinion compared to the Veloster, and that's just, again, my personal opinion. But on top of that, the new car drives great, and so it might not be as fast as what that Veloster N was from all the performance metrics. I mean, we'll see when people officially test them. But I think it's going to feel better from a driving perspective, especially from a daily driver perspective. And it's going to feel a lot more modern because they just barely released the new Elantra, and so it's just going to feel like this really nice modern car. And so if you're looking for something like that, and if you guys are wondering in terms of what this competes against, kind of against the Civic Si, but it's obviously got more power. I know that some people are going to be like, no, this is direct competition to the Civic Type R, and yeah, you're correct, it's right within that range obviously, and it's a four-door car just like the Civic Type R, but I don't think that they're shooting for that much performance necessarily. I think they wanted this to be a little bit more on the daily driver side versus the Civic Type R is kind of like all-out race car basically. But yeah, that's everything for the Elantra N. If you happen to be stopping for the first time, I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe, comment down below what you think, and then I will see all of you in that next video.